as well. So when my daughter comes to me and says, Daddy, the other day she wanted to go to Antigua, and my mother-in-law was going and she wanted to go as well. And she said, oh, Dad, I need to go to Antigua. I said, well, go. But that's not where she's going, you know. She's going, well, what about the fare? Right? You see what I mean? I say, go. You want to go? Go. You're working, you go, you know, you would go. She says, oh, God, this bad. I said, no. So, because I'm trying to teach her about limits and operate within your limits, whatever you want to do, you do by faith. Don't, Daddy is not the bank of faith. I'm not the bank of faith. I'm Daddy. So I said, you want to go? Go. But how are you going to go? Well, okay. She said, Dad, I can make 400. What about the rest? I said, I will lend you the rest. And I had it to give it to her, but I wanted her to know that you have to operate within your own levels. Now, church, every one of us has levels. Every one of us has capacity to go beyond. You can stretch beyond. Now, church, one of the reasons why we do not experience God the way we could or should is because we are operating God in the limits that we've established for Him. So God, you can come, you can bless me, and you can give me a little goose pimple and let me excite, but don't start telling me about walking on water. Don't start trying to get me to lay hands on the sick. So we put some limits on God. But today in church, our message is there are no limits in God. No limits. Now I'm going to just pick the text a little bit, and then I want to show you something. Now let's go back to verse 20 and let's look at some words. Let's just do some etymology very quickly. Just very quickly look at a couple of the words. Now to him who is able, to him who is able, to him who is able. So when I was doing this verse, I marked the word able. Ability. The ability of God. God's ability. To him who is able. He is able, church. Say with me, he is able. As you sit in your chair, you need to hear in your spirit, not your ears, but in your spirit, that the God you serve is able. He has ability beyond your understanding. So he's able. What's he able to do? He's able to do. 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 He's able. You see, you don't get to the exceeding bit yet, because before you get to exceeding, you need to see do. God is a doer. God is a doer, church. He is a doer. He is able to do. He can say, and he also does things. Now, church, I want you to hear this. You also have the DNA of God in you. And so if God is able, you are also able. If God can do, you can do, because you are a child of God. Able to do, dynamic, able to do exceedingly, abundantly, above. Now, when you read these verses, these words in the verse, it's trying to get you to a place. Paul was trying to get the Ephesian church to a place where they no longer saw themselves operating in limits and boundary, but starting now to have a whole new outlook with God. All right. Above all that we can do what? Ask or think. We said that already. Now watch this. According to the power that works in us. That word power, I'm sure you know, comes from that Greek word dynamos or dunamis. That's where we get dynamite. That's where we get dynamics. And that dynamite or dunamis I want to give it to you, is the potentiality. It's potential to exert force. Say with me, force. Do it with your hand like this. Force. Put some force. That's right. When that power that's at work is the ability to exert force. You can exert force. It's very important. I'm going to work this for you a little bit. To exert force in performing any function at all. So this morning, when your bishop called and prayed, he was exerting force in the spirit realm. So that the forces that are out there that are set up against young people now have encountered an alternative force. It's a force that is exerted by bishop through the realm of prayer. And I want you to understand there are all kinds of forces at work as we speak now. For example, in the natural realm, the force of gravitation. There is a force called gravitational force. I studied it. I know. I'm a scientist. I know. Science, the force of gravity says that every single thing that goes up must come down. Let me give you an example. It has to come down. If it stayed up there floating around, we're in trouble in here. It's a force. Let me show you another force. That is a force, the force of friction. There's another force called electrical force. At the moment as you speak now, my microphone is working through certain forces. The lights are on. This fan is working through the force of electricity, and other forces are at work. There is a force called magnetic force, and there's also a force called applied force. Now, do you know, church, as you speak now, there's a force that's keeping you up on your chair. There's a force when you came in, did you check your chair? Did you say, hang on, let me get my screwdriver and get my hammer and my pliers and check and see how many? No, you didn't. You put some confidence in that chair and the force that was at work the way it's designed. And that chair is supposed to behave the way it's behaving now. If that chair all of a sudden starts to rock, what would we do with it? We'd take that thing and throw it outside because you're no longer operating in your purpose. Now, I want you to hear me, church. God has capacity or ability to exert force through you and me. As I speak now, I might look simple, but I have within me the power and the capacity to exert force against forces. Forces that are working against me or against your marriage or against your home or against your family or against your money. Some of you know that you should be further in your life, and you know there are certain forces that are pulling you, pushing you, pulling you, pushing you, pushing you, pulling you. But I'm here to tell you today, if you put your confidence in God, there is a force that works through him that is able to overcome that force. The reason why I use the word force is because all kinds of forces, but there's always going to be a hierarchy of force. A hierarchy of force. So there are many forces at work, little demons, little this, little that. But what force is the most dominant in our life? Now the Bible says God is able to do that at work in us. So I'm trying to challenge you now to question why you have operated with God but putting limits on him. Now, there's this little acronym, I don't know if you know it. It's called HALT. Say it with me, HALT. HALT. H-A-L-T. Never make a decision when you're hungry, angry, lonely, or tired. HALT. Have you ever answered someone when you're angry? HALT. Don't choose your partner when you're lonely. Hold! Don't make decisions when you're hungry. I'm terrible when I'm hungry. My wife knows. 2 things with Dennis. Don't wake him when he's sleeping. And if he's hungry, feed him. Hold. These are all decisions that we make at the wrong time and the wrong moments in our life. Are you with me on this so far? I'm going to go somewhere, but I just wanted to lay my foundation. Are you okay with me so far? Yes. So what we're saying is there are forces that work in our lives every day. The force of logic, the force of reason, the force of intellectual prowess. In this country and in many Western countries, we are taught to be educated. Now, unfortunately, the education can be used against God. That's right. Because the education teaches us, or rather, education, teaches us of rational ways of functioning, so that God is demoted, because the feeling is it doesn't equate. God, have you noticed they're trying to get God out of schools? Have you noticed they're trying to get God out of education? Because they're trying to tell us, and it's a force, it's intellectual force, that's saying that spiritual force is not relevant. But I want you to hear good. In the Garden of Eden, we did not need education. We used discernment. We used wisdom and revelation that God had placed in us. Oh, let me help you with that. You remember when God finished doing all His creation, He brought them all to Adam. He said to Adam, Adam, what will you name this thing? The cow comes by, that's a cow. The little ant comes and ant. Spider! You have to blame Adam for all of this now, okay? The Bible says He named them. God partnered with Adam to work in the garden. So that means we have the capacity to commune and fellowship with God. We have the capacity to think. God trusted the mind of Adam to name every creature in that garden. The giraffe, the lion, the tiger, the bear, tortoise. All of these things came from Adam. Where did that come from? God put it in him. So education is something that has come after sin. And because of that, it has become a force we're using against God. But you got to remember, God created heaven. God created the earth. God created man. God designed everything. There is nothing that has greater ability than God. So take the limits off of your God and start to experience the power of your God. Start to experience the force of your God. Let him work. Education. I'm educated to master's level on 2 occasions, and it's all foolishness. No, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying don't go to school. There are young people that pastor didn't say don't go to school. I'm saying I don't try to use that education against God. When they try to tell me about Darwin's theory, evolution, and so on, I say, okay, that's good. But my Bible tells me that God created the heavens and the earth. You see, there's education and there's biblical understanding. There's revelation. There is discernment from the Spirit of the living God. And there's what your book tells you. Harrow A-level sociology. When I did that stuff, I read this, read that. I still believe that there's a God in heaven. I still believe in the exertion of the power of the Holy Spirit. Here's what I believe. That the Spirit of the living God hovered over the face of the deep. And what was out of form came back into form because of the power of Almighty God. God is the force. God is the force that makes the difference in your life. Anything that's out of order, the Spirit of the living God will exert force over you and bring order. Bring back shape. Bring back design. Bring back creativity. Darkness, light, water, day, night, fish. All of this comes through the power of Almighty God. So I'm saying today, there is another force that is greater than every force on this earth. And what we're battling today, church, is intellectualism.